Building downtown. Building downtown. Building downtown. Building downtown.
Hey, this is The Building Downtown. Don't forget to follow us on social media at The Building DT. You can follow and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm Jason Kelly. You can follow me at JKellyMMA. Make sure you follow my co-host, Kirill Kasatskiy, at Apostle Raps. And our usual co-host, or third wheel, whatever you want to call her, Amy Barton, unfortunately could not be with us today. She's busy working, but I know she did want to be here, and she plans to be back for the next one. So you won't miss her for too long. Today we have a guest joining us. In the past when we've talked, it's been on a definitely a more fun note. Today we're going to get into some serious topics, but still have some fun. He is the founder and one of the owners of Parabellum MMA. I don't know if I call him former or still MMA fighter because I don't think he's competed for a little while. But anyway, he's been tearing up the combat sports scene in Ontario specifically for probably close to a decade now. And without further ado, Lyndon Whitlock, thanks for joining us, my man.
Oh, my pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
No, I really appreciate it. Now, like I said in the intro there, bad news. It breaks my heart to hear what's going on with Parabellum, and I'm going to let you tell the story more than me. But before we get too far down there, I'd like to set up maybe a timeline. So when did you open Parabellum? You and Rory McDonell were the first people. You guys were the founders. Is that correct?
No. So Rory and a guy named Jeremy Ennis opened up close to...
Okay.
Oh, it's okay. It's close to about maybe 10, 11 years. And me and Lucas bought in, I think, at the 4-year mark, and we've been involved as owners since then. But we were involved opening up that gym. We were the first teachers to teach classes there. So we've been at that location or at that facility since it opened.
So you've watched it grow for basically, since inception. And
Yep.
what were the benchmarks for success, like as you go through opening a gym? Because how many gyms open and crash in no time whatsoever? It's a very hard business to get into.
Yeah, it's definitely a hard business to get into. I don't think of any benchmarks where these were the litmus test of us being successful or not. I think the benchmark would be to have a business with your friends and love what you do for a living.
Yeah, that's definitely a dream come true. Whenever you can do something that you love to do and you get to do it with your buddies, that's
Yep.
barely even work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so you're building the stable. I know you guys worked with guys who weren't strictly Parabellum, but they're from the Ontario area, and then guys that are sworn to Parabellum. They're Parabellum fighters, teammates, whatever you may call them.
Yep.
Who were some of the guys you first started seeing come through that were upper echelon? Not just there for training, not there for self-defense, not there to try some amateur stuff, but at least like a score fighting series or beyond that, a Bellator, and even I know you guys have guys in the UFC. When did that start?
When did that start? We've always had those guys. But around when me and Lucas took over with Rory, we really started. We had a pro team, but kind of like people just met in the middle and started training together. It wasn't very structured and it wasn't very long-term sustainable for the guys. So when we came in at the 4 or 5 year mark, we actually transitioned into like a full pro program. So we've always had those type of guys around. But like right now, we got Josh Hill, who's fighting in Bellator in 4 weeks. We have Aaron Jeffries, who's fighting in LFA this weekend, or I don't even know what day it is. This weekend, yes. So we got a bunch of guys that are kind of pop around those big shows that are just waiting to, make it big with the UFC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw some news about Josh Hill actually today or yesterday. He said that he has something coming up. I don't know how much you can elaborate on that, but they, what's he looking at next? Is it going to be title contention or a title fight or?
I can't announce names or anything like that, but it would. Well, I can say it would be a contender type fight. The winner that would get the title after this.
The title shot, yeah, because I figure he's got to be damn near close. I thought this would be the contender fight, or he'd get a championship match next out of that. He's been doing good with it.
Oh, he's been doing amazing. They had a couple bigger name guys drop out of the UFC and come to Bellator that kind of take precedence over him, unfortunately. I think in a normal state, without guys coming back from the UFC, they would have given Josh Tell fight this one, but naturally it's just kind of pushed down that list a little bit for some bigger names.
Yeah, things are rolling along. As we said, this past, I want to sum this up and not get too into detail because there's a bigger important thing that we want to touch on here.
Yep.
Things are steamrolling. Things are going great. Actually, at BTC in February, Krill was there with me. We were there. We were covering for media, and I pointed out to him. I was like, "You see those two guys right there? You and Roy were walking a fighter out." And I was like, "Those guys right there are coming to be some of the best coaches within Canada, and the stable of fighters that they're producing, and everything." That's the end of February.
Yes.
I read an interview you did like end of March, and you guys were already had your doors closed. Now we're middle of October. So have you been at a stalemate doing nothing for these past few months?
No. We're still because this is the answer. People aren't going to like the answer. No, I still work with the pros. I still spend a lot of my time with those guys. We looked at this opportunity to, improve ourselves as opposed to fighting all the time. So
Okay.
the heavier the lockdown we had, the more we kind of went to real small group sessions, and then the less lockdown, the bigger groups.
Okay. And then so the news comes that you guys are at least temporary closed for now. When did you make that decision?
Well, we were probably one of the last gyms in Ontario to make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
I think, we probably were the last gym. And then, we're kind of hoping it would be a short-term thing and not a long-term thing. But the week after week after week, we just got more into lockdown and more restrictions put on us.
So what was the most difficult part? Just the financial part of it? Like, do you guys own the building you're in, or is it a lease? Like, what things come up first? I would assume it's financial stuff first of all you're getting hit with, right?
Well, it depends on how you're asking that question. You're talking as a business, as a corporation, what's the hardest part, or as an individual who owns part of that, what's the hardest part? Because they're kind of different answers.
I guess explain from both sides. I never even thought of looking at it that way. So what are the struggles from both ends?
Well, financially, for the gym, like as a corporation, as a business that needs to pay bills, you need money in for money out. That's just the mathematics. So that is obviously the hardest part as a business or the corporation, how to move forward. But as personal, me, Rory, and Lucas all came from working hard, and we don't mind struggling a little bit, and taking a financial hit. So it wasn't the financial side personally that hurt the most. It was getting the things that you love and care about taken away from you.
Okay. And with monthly memberships and stuff like that, do they come to a halt immediately for, after you guys close the doors, or how did that work?
Well, we have a good community at Parabellum. A lot of people support what we do, love what we do. So we did have a bunch of members, I wouldn't say a lot, but a bunch of members that kept paying, which ultimately, long-term, probably ended up screwing us a little bit because with the government subsidy, you needed 70% loss of income. We had 68% loss of income.
Oh my God.
So maybe 67, 68, something like that.
And there's no leeway there. You can't say like, hey, people were trying to help us keep afloat. That's why it's like that. Or is it just dead set 70% or go fuck yourself?
You know how it is with the
government. Holy fuck, man. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just listening to something today, or it might have been yesterday. I think it was 10% of the businesses qualified for the rent subsidy.
Holy fuck, that's it?
Yep.
Gee, how the hell? So, before we... Sorry, Kirill, you jump in.
No, I was just going to say, it seems like they almost want small businesses to shut down. It seems like they're squeezing the little guy out.
Yeah, when people say like they want small businesses out, it seems like an intentional attack on small businesses or people in general. I don't think it's an intentional attack. Like there's a greater plan here. I think it is we just aren't higher on their priority list, and they don't really care. When subsidies and support are hard to understand and very tricky to apply for, that's usually on purpose. You know what I mean? Like they don't want people to get the subsidies because Canada can't support these subsidies. We are in the biggest, I think it's the second biggest deficit we ever had, only compared to after World War II right now. If we put any more out, we would have been more than World War II. These aren't good numbers we're dealing with. So I think the subsidies were hard to get because we couldn't financially support them.
And is there only like how many things are there available for small businesses to apply for? Is only like one benefit you can apply for? Or there's certain things you can apply, or different things you can apply for,
Well,
depending on your situation?
it would depend on your situation. I think some people could have applied for the rents, another rents of the wage subsidy, but those were, I think, essential businesses that could only apply for that, or ones that weren't closed down. We didn't qualify for that. Now, the other one that we did qualify for, which is the only one we got, but on the grand scheme of things, it's a outrageous subsidy, is the $40,000 loan.
Okay, and how does that work? What makes it outrageous?
Well, it's outrageous in the sense that if you have no money and I give you a loan, is that going to help you long term?
No, definitely not. I'm going to blow through that money.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the end of it, all that money is expected back, and how you're going to pay for it because you're in a hole that the government put you in. So it's going to take you months, maybe years, to get back to the financial state you were before, but that money is going to be due at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So the only reason...
Sorry,
the only reason small businesses would have taken that loan is that $40,000 loan. There was a $10,000 forgiveness in there, so you could have kept $10,000 if you took the $40,000 and paid it back within the 2 years. So the only reason any business ever took that loan was to get that 10%, not because that loan is something that would be sustainable for any business to take.
Holy shit! So, and before, I don't want listeners to get confused here and think you got a problem with people being sick, because I assume you're a compassionate guy, a martial artist. You're an honorable martial artist, that you represent yourself in that way. So the beef is with the government, the way they're handling it.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways we could have approached this, in my opinion, that would have been more sustainable, and it definitely is not how we're approaching it. And even how we're going into this next lockdown is very confusing. Are we locking down for sure? Are we not locking down? Why are we waiting so long? Like, it's very misleading or hard to understand.
Yeah, it is.
They just shut down Peel, Ottawa, and Toronto, right? They went to strict suit.
To an extent, they shut down some things, not everything. Gyms, indoor restaurants, and it might have been strip clubs or something else I can't remember that didn't really stick up. But it's only 20. It's only 20 days or 28 days.
What the fuck?
But for those businesses, they're gonna be like, okay, at 20 days we can open up our business again, but the numbers are gonna steadily go up. So there's no clarity on like what number will we open back up or won't we open back up? Because I don't see those businesses opening back up before spring.
Yeah, I can't see that either, especially with Christmas coming and everything. I don't see it, and New Year's and everything, and the winter. Yeah, that's what it's looking like. But it's like you said, it is so damn confusing and misleading. Is there like, when as an individual, they go through, whether they go through EI or CERB or whatever it is, it's just, you fill an application online, you don't really speak to anyone. But for you, is there like a direct person that you guys talk to that handles this? Is there like one CRA agent or whoever, or is it just the same thing all online, or automated calls or some bullshit?
Yeah, more of the bullshit. It's really hard to, and even when you talk to CRA, they don't really have the answer, and like, oh, that's not my department. I push out somebody else. They push out somebody else. It's tough. And to be 100% fair for them, this is all new for them too. But unfortunately, it is your job, so you're going to take a little bit of backlash from frustrated Canadians.
Yeah, and is there any sort of like fucking groups things going on where business owners are meeting and trying to talk to the government to form a solution together that you know of?
Yeah, well, early in the first lockdown, me and another guy opened up just a group for Ontario gym owners to kind of talk and help each other bounce ideas off each other and understand where everybody's at. So we did that, but it's still not very transparent.
Yeah, and so as of right now, you're just temporarily closed. That's correct? The plan is still to open, hopefully by spring?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things going on. Parabellum was forced out of our building, our lease, from our landlord. Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, me and Lucas are buying Rory out of so we're not buying him out of Parabellum. Rory's keeping the name Parabellum. Me and Lucas are moving on to open up our own gym. Okay, so it'll be a different name, different brand, everything? Well, I imagine the only thing you'll see different is a name. Yeah, the name. Yeah, and different branding. So, but the fighters, the students, the trainers, all that'll be the same for the most part. At least you hope it is, anyways. Yes, it'll be all the same. It's just with the legality of what's going on right now with Parabellum and the lease and all that stuff, that it's much easier for us to kind of leave that business number behind for a bit.
And speaking to other guys, whether it be Adrenaline or this gym or that gym in Ontario, or even throughout Canada, because I know your connections stretch further than just the GTA in Ontario.
Yes.
Have you spoke to other people about what they're going through, their thoughts, or anything like that?
I would say we are not in a unique position. I think in this next wave, if we go heavy lockdown, we're going to see a lot of gyms close down. Landlords, some gyms have had decent landlords that are willing to work with them. Some have had really landlords that aren't willing to work with them. And really that's the deciding factor for a lot of gyms right now is the landlord, is the subsidy, is the rent subsidy. Because if you can take that away, you don't really need to bring that much in for a gym to run. I would say on the business side, on our bill side, 90% of our bills is rent.
Oh, wow.
Maybe 80, but it's really high. So if you can take that away, what are we paying for? Insurance, telephone, Wi-Fi. There's no wages right now, so that's gone too. So without rent there, that really puts businesses in a position where they might be able to survive.
Are there any restrictions on you just running classes outdoors? I mean, fucking winter's coming. That's not obviously an ideal thing. That's not realistic. But are there any? Like, if you were to say, all right, fuck it, take my building, we'll be in the park. Is there anything they can do?
No, not
as
really.
long as
Yes,
social distancing or whatever.
Yes, but we are in Oakville. They are the absolute worst to deal with.
Oh, really?
Yes, even when the first lockdown, me and my business partner were at the gym one day, and the cops came by and were questioning us why we were there.
Holy the cops.
Yeah.
Like police officers. Nothing better to do.
That happened twice. Fuck. And the cops were very, they were nice. Like, they weren't complete jerks to us. So the fault's not on them, but just that's the Oakville mentality. And we even we'd taken our gym and moved into my business partner's garage just to hold us over for a little bit. First day of running, bylaw comes by.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, they got it in for you guys. And they like that with all the businesses there? Like, have you talked to people outside of the gym industry or combat sports industry, small business like restaurants or whatever?
Yeah, it's the Oakville way. It really is. Oakville's a bit of an elitist place, and they don't like any disruptions, and there's a lot of bylaws.
Holy shit. So when you guys set up again, are you looking to set up in Oakville, or is moving an option?
We'll probably stay in Oakville. We have a lot of clients here. Besides this last year or last 7 months, Oakville's been awesome to us.
Mm-hmm. And what are the steps in your mind, anyways, that you can think of so far that you need to take or you need changed for you to hit that timeline of opening in, say, May, April?
Well, it really will be dependent on our approach on how we're dealing with COVID. I don't understand what our approach is. It's not flattening the curve, obviously. It looks like eradicating it. So if that's the case, it might not be in April. Who knows?
That's got to be so frustrating where your hands are tied. Like,
course,
no matter what you plan, you could just be screwed at any moment.
Yeah, that's the problem, too. If the government came out and said, like, listen, we are getting this number down to 0, I'd probably have to walk away for a couple of years. If they were saying, okay, well, we're going to go herd immunity, well, then I only have to wait a couple of weeks. So, if there's some sort of transparency, there would be a game plan for us, too. But, the steps are taken changes daily.
And were you guys waited to close down? Do you think you waited too long, or do you think are you guys still able to recover?
Did we wait too long? Probably yes. But that was more of the handlings with our landlord. At first, they told us that we had got the subsidy, and then they came back and said we didn't. Then they said they weren't. They would work with us. We'd figure something out. And then they didn't have any negotiations with us. They didn't really talk to us. They didn't give us anything but, like, don't worry, guys, it'll be fine. And then one day they came with this outrageous number of money we owed, and we kind of got forced out. So if we knew that they weren't going to work with us from step one, we probably would have closed the doors down early to save money and figured out something for the meantime.
Yeah, so now you're still on the hook for what is owed, I take it.
Yes.
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
How did the conversation with Rory go? Like, did you guys bring it to him, or did he bring it to you about stepping away?
I would probably say, we brought it to him, but he's just going through some stuff, and I think he needs to step away for a little bit, regroup himself, and figure out what he wants in this world. Does he want to be involved in martial arts? Does he want to go back to school? Does he want to, he has a lot of options. He's a very smart guy. So I think for him, once he figures out what he wants to do, it'll be very easy to commit to that.
Yeah. So has he kind of had one foot out the door, so to speak, during this time? If you're saying he's looking at other options?
Through COVID, of course, which is natural. I think people fall into this dark hole when they can't do the things they love and train and, make money and have a decent income. But there are greater issues that are at play that maybe COVID highlighted.
Yeah, I could see that. It kind of forces someone to make a decision.
Yeah.
So how did the conversation go, though? I assume Rory probably, he couldn't have been jumping with fucking joy. This is his baby, right?
Yes. This stuff's, it's always tricky to navigate negotiations with people. But I would say the negotiations have been very civil, and everybody is walking away losing. Unfortunately, it's in one of those situations where everybody's walking away winning, right?
Bundles of money.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody's walking away equally not mad at the situation itself, but like if you look at the whole scenario, how Parabellum happened and the context of the situation we're in now, we're all just kind of losing, which kind of makes everybody happy.
Mm-hmm. And you and Rory are still good? Like, I know you guys were tight.
Yep.
There's no like divide or anything like that. That's good to hear. Because business could fuck friendships up.
Of course. There's going to be a little friction getting through this, and it'll take some time to get over it. But Rory is a brother of mine, and Rory knows if he needs me at 3 in the morning, he can call and I'll be there.
Nice. That's good to hear.
Yeah, we are brothers. Sometimes that's not always an easy thing to navigate, but there is compassion and caring there. And if he does need me, and if he does need Lucas, we're always there.
Mm-hmm. And I assume too, if later on down the road you and Lucas are running a successful gym, if Rory wants to come back in, there's an open door invitation for him.
Yeah, we talked about that through the negotiation and all that stuff, and that we aren't closing the door here, but it'll be much easier to open that door back up or have the door fully open when you know you want to be here.
Mm-hmm. So what would you do if you could never do this again? What does Lyndon Whitlock do if from the moment I met you, I saw you in a cage and then knew you as a trainer. So it's like, what else would Lyndon Whitlock do without, if you're not working on a gym? If this was to be the end of this chapter in your life, what, you're saying like, Rory, go back to school, do this, do that. What kind of things would you be looking at?
I truthfully don't. Well, I do know, but it's not an easy answer. There's nothing else I want to do.
Yeah.
This is what I love doing. This is what I wake up every day looking forward to do. So there wouldn't be a substitute to this lifestyle I have now. Likely, I'd probably move out west, move to the Rockies, maybe work at a national park or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. Something along those lines would be more compelling to me. But I can't see myself stepping away from this lifestyle quite yet.
Yeah, would coaching or training at someone else's facility be an option for you?
Yeah, but I'm not easy to work with.
I was just gonna say, and especially when you've been an owner already, it's probably even more tricky, right? You're like, no, I want to do things this way. And like, do it our fucking way. That's got to be frustrating. So would that have to be the right fit then, more than anything?
Yes. Well, with me and Lucas moving forward, we work great together. There's no real friction. We understand the expectations of each other. And I don't necessarily want to teach martial arts the rest of my life, teaching somebody how to throw a jab, low kick. I want to compete, and I want to be one of the best coaches in the world at a high level.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask you, too. You're still competing?
No, I don't. I haven't competed fighting myself, but I want to be there with guys who are competing. I want to teach guys how to be the best in the world. I want to build a world champion and, see those type of goals through, as opposed to jab, low kick every day.
Oh shit! Who was on the come up at Parabellum, or even on the Ontario MMA scene that you've seen recently until this shit got fucked up? I know TJ Laramie getting signed recently was a big deal, but
Yeah.
who else, especially from your gym? Not necessarily UFC or if there are some UFC guys who may not be as well known as like a Josh Hill and Bellator, but even some guys who've got some regional shots, TKO or whatever it may be.
Well, it's funny because right now you're only seeing the top guys at the gym, and I mean the guys that have the experience and the decent records being brought into the States for fights. So you're seeing Josh, AJ, Anthony Romero, who just fought in the Contender Series and had a great performance, but did not get signed, which was astonishing.
Yeah, it was. It was to a lot of people. That was all over social media. People did not understand. I remember people were comparing him to other people that did get signed and saying, well, how the fuck can you justify this? So that was very astonishing.
After that win, there was no concern in my head that he wasn't going to get signed, and I'm not always the optimist there. So for me to be like, he's getting signed for sure, and then he didn't, was just mind blowing. It was a great performance. He's a young kid with a bright future.
Yeah, definitely. It was really nice seeing TJ get signed because
absolutely.
I think the first time I ever interviewed him, he was either 15 or 16. So that age of 15, 16 to what is he now, 22? There's a lot of growth in those years for anyone, right? You're a kid.
For sure.
Now right.
In no disrespect to the Laramie brothers, they're both still so young. Like in 10 years from now, they'll look back and say, "Wow, I was a kid when I got signed to the UFC." And they're not really kids, but in their maturity in their fighting, they still got so much growing to do. So it's amazing he got signed, but there's still so much talent and growth there for him that he hasn't even reached his capacity yet.
Yep. Yeah, I remember Robin Black said to me the one time we were talking about TJ, and he was like, "No matter how good you think TJ is, Tony will be better in the end." It's like, really? And Robin Black was like, mark my words. He thinks Tony is going to be the standout one, and I mean, TJ already looks like a huge prospect.
Yeah, well, not looks like he absolutely is. You can't argue at this point.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, definitely. When I think you look at who's going to be better than the two, there's a lot of questions unanswered. Tony seems to be a little bit younger, a little bit more wild in the cage, where TJ looks to be more composed and more intellectual on like how he approaches the fight. So it's hard to say absolutely one's going to be better than the other at this point because they kind of approach fighting in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Have you worked with either one of them?
No, I haven't. We have a good relationship with Reno, but no, the gyms are so far apart. It's like 3.5 hours to get there.
Yeah, they're in friggin' Windsor. That's like Windsor's the shittiest drive too. Like I'm in Kitchener, right? So anytime I've had to drive to Windsor to go to the Cover MMA there, I'm just like, for fuck's sakes, this is gonna suck. I always appreciate the score in Hamilton or like what was that one? Substance Cage Combat or something that was downtown Toronto. That wasn't bad. But when you got to go to Windsor, it's like, God damn it. And the worst part is, if you don't stay in Windsor and the show ends at like 1 a.m., you got a 3.5 hour trip back. And that stretch of the 401 is pitch black.
Oh, it's awful.
I made that mistake once. It was funny.
Just like time served.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
I made that mistake once, and then Bellator was coming to Caesars Windsor, and I did a lot of work with Bellator, so they got Caesars to reach out to me because I'm Canadian to help run a contest. And the PR person there told me, anytime you come to cover anything here, let us know. We'll comp you a hotel for a couple nights. Oh, I took full advantage of that every time I went there. Didn't matter what I was going for. Like, I'm in town covering some media. Can I have a room for a few nights? No problem.
Oh, that's nice of them.
Yeah, it is. What's it been like? Have you cornered anyone since this COVID shit's been going on?
Yeah, well, we had Josh Bellator.
That's right.
And then we had Romero Contender Series. We had AJ. We were in Miami for that event. I forget the name of it. There's a Brazilian organization. Great event. And then I'm LFA this weekend. Then we're back for a little bit. Then I'm XFC in Atlanta with Scott Hudson. Then the weekend after that will be Josh at Bellator in Connecticut again.
Oh, right on. Handsome Scott Hudson, eh? That's a name I haven't heard for a few years. Nice to see he's still at it. He should have a fight announcement in the next couple of days. The contract's been sent over, just hasn't been signed, hasn't been announced yet. Right on. Good for him. That's awesome to hear. So what's it
Yeah.
been like traveling, cornering, going to events with no fans? What are the restrictions? What are some of the challenges? What's been absolutely fucking weird and strange? What has that whole experience been like? Because obviously that's a first as well for you, right?
Yeah, well, the only positive of COVID is going to an event and cornering with no fans there. I love it.
Yeah, you do
I get,
enjoy. I enjoy watching with no fans. It's nice.
yeah, a couple of fights I've had with the guys, like we literally had a conversation while they're in the cage fighting. You know, we're actually having a dialogue back and forth because there's no fans, there's no loud noises. I don't have to lose my voice when I corner. So on that side, I love it. But I'm sure the fighters kind of wish there was fans there and they'd be a little more pumped up.
That's got to be super strange. I
Yeah,
mean, you're a professional, especially if we're talking UFC level, Bellator
yeah,
level. You know, you're a professional, you should be able to adapt, but it doesn't
yep.
matter. That's got to be so fucking weird. I
It's
even
just
high
eerie.
school sports, you got fans. Yeah, that eerie. That's the right word, right? It's got to be
Yep,
creepy in there.
yep.
Holy
But
shit!
to be fair, I think most of the guys have enjoyed it so far. It seems a
Really?
little bit more like you're in the sparring room.
Yeah, that's what I could see. See, that's why I think it might be. I think I'd find it harder to get up. I mean, who the fuck am I, right? But I'm just saying it'd be harder to get pumped up because you feel like you're in the sparring room. You don't feel like you're under the big lights. But for some people, they don't perform as well under the big lights too. I'm sure, as you know.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, some people kill it in the gym. They just can't transition over to the cage when the lights are
Yeah.
on.
Well, and I think once you get a real punch thrown at your face, doesn't matter where you are, you got to wake the fuck up a bit.
Yeah, yeah. Once you realize what this guy's coming to do to you,
Yeah, exactly.
and he's been training just as hard as you for just as long. Fuck.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Trying to take everything you built away from you.
Damn. So, how do you keep busy between now and spring?
Well, still work with the pros, still doing pro classes, just kind of bouncing around in between places to get that work done. So, you know, I might be teaching 4 hours a day, but I'm driving 3 hours or 2 hours.
Oh man, that sucks. So, is it more like
Yeah,
one-on-one, or just like three of you working together or something?
yeah, we're trying
Like,
to keep the
yeah.
numbers low. What I've been trying to do is get the small guys in a room together, get the big guys in a room together, do the privates, you know, one-on-one or two-on-one.
Mhm.
So with efficiency, I wouldn't say I'm doing great, but we're getting the work done. And I'm happy with the progression of the guys. Like, it's not like they have degressed.
Mhm. And how do you find space to do this now? You just using wherever you can, like, or do you have like are you using homes outside? What spaces are you
You,
using to conduct these classes?
trying to use the garage a little bit with the bylaw. We have good connections with a lot of the gyms around. Naira Top Team is affiliated with us. I wouldn't say that they're Parabellum 2 or we're Naira Top Team 2, but Chris runs part of the pro program with us. So the doors are open there. We can go out there. You know, Josh Hill has his own gym, Vision Quest in Binbrook. We can use the gym there. GTC in Burlington has a door open for us. I think because we have a lot of guys that travel around and we've had a lot of connection with a lot of these gyms that they're very open and willing to help us out in this time.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. Yeah, it's amazing how the whole martial arts community opens its doors to each other, unless you know you're an absolute piece of shit. But other than
Exactly. Yeah.
that, you know, it seems like you all got each other's back, and that's worldwide too, right? It's not just like that's only in Ontario. We got some unique thing going on here. That's so
No,
cool to
no.
hear because you're not gonna get, you may not get the same thing if your restaurant's going, you know, you're low on supplies, times are tough, and you need fucking potatoes, and you go to the guy next door. He might say, no, 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 you're
Too bad. Yeah.
competition to me, right? Yeah, you're done.
Yeah. Well, I think in this certain circumstance, everybody could envision them being us at this point. You know, the fact that they aren't us is just because of sheer luck.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think people have a lot of sympathy towards people that are losing their businesses due to COVID and are going out of their way to provide any support or help, which is amazing.
Yeah, this one definitely was a blow to the Ontario martial arts community. I mean, you see so many guys from this area, from this province, especially Southern Ontario and the GTA, fighters all the way from UFC down to people who have just worked with you or know you, right? And
Yep.
everyone's like, not them, not them. They're not the guys, you right? Like, not them. Like that one sucks. And like you said, it really hits home. Jesse Ronson, actually, one of the comments I read of his, when you first posted the notice about temporarily closing, he was saying, "Oh fuck, this one really hits close to home," and blah 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 blah. So Yeah, and it's such a small niche community too, right? Everybody
Yeah,
feels it. Even fuck, you and I haven't talked in well over like 5 years or some shit. And as soon as I read it, I was like, oh man, it's such a blow to the fucking
yeah.
to that community.
You know,
Yeah.
it's a blow to anybody that's got to lose their business, whether it's martial arts or a restaurant like that. I absolutely feel gutted for anybody who's in that situation because a lot of these people put their savings into this. They put their love and their heart into it, and that's all taken away. It's not like just my business is taken away. What about the loan I had in the business? What about all that extra money? You know, like we're losing a lot of things here.
Yeah. It's not just killing lives, it's killing livelihoods.
Yes, absolutely, which is too bad.
Okay. That is very, very shitty. So before we get out of here, what do you want to? Because I have a feeling there's going to be quite a bit of listeners to this: small business owners, people affected by COVID, people in Ontario, martial arts community. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of ears coming from a lot of different directions. We're not on here just talking about Josh Hill's upcoming fight, right? We're only track certain people.
No, yeah.
So for those, what I don't know if I should say, what message do you want to get out? Because that just sounds so lame. But you know what? So people understand the struggles and what a small business owner, what you would like to see from the government.
Well, you know, the government's not going to listen. They're not going to care anyway. So there's no point speaking towards that. But no, in all seriousness, right? But as Canadians, what we can do, stop buying on Amazon, stop going to Walmart, start going to your local restaurants, start supporting local businesses. That's a community we need to have as Canadians. You know, support the people that live next door to you. Don't spend your money on Amazon to save $3 extra. Go to the hardware store that's owned locally and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we can do for each other. Of course it does, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, ordering on skip the dish, maybe something local as opposed to Boston Pizza or a big business.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we really can do.
Yeah, community has to be there to support each other. And if you're going to Walmart, that's not part of the community. I remember Walmart got in a small town around here called St. Jacobs, and they were dead against it. And all the small stores and stuff said, you know, they're going to kill us because we can't survive. We're open from like 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. Monday to Friday, a little shorter on Saturday, and we're not open on Sundays. It's like that kind of community, right? And Walmart's in there. And across the street from Walmart, you got a bunch of fast food chains. There's a Value Village. There's all kinds of shit up there, right? And it's like, that's not St. Jacobs. St. Jacobs is a little horse and buggy town. I've always said that. Ever since I watched that documentary, The High Price of Low Cost or something like that, or High Cost of Low Price or something about Walmart years back. Ever since then, I'm very cautious of what I buy. I mean, if I'm buying laundry detergent, fuck it. I'll grab it at Walmart. I'll grab it at Zehrs, whatever, right? But,
of course.
You know, but for the most part, I'll try to go to either local mom and pop places are my favorite places to eat. It's very rare I'll go to like an East Side Mario's or some shit. I'd rather go to a nice tiny little pasta house that's independently owned. It makes a big difference.
And we're all going to go to the Keg once in a while or go to Walmart of sure convenience. We're all going to do that once in a while. But instead of buying Coors Light, go buy your local brewery right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just make a conscious choice to do it more often than not, and it's going to make a big difference for these small businesses.
Yeah, certainly. All right, my man. You want to let everyone know where they can find you before we get out of here?
I'm on Instagram at Lyndon Whitlock. Same with Facebook. I'm not super big into social media. Most of my social media is just about rock climbing and doing stupid stuff with my friends.
Yeah, you mentioned before you'd be working out, you move out to the Rockies and work in like a national park or something. I was going to say that actually. I see pictures of you popping up all the time. You're fucking rock climbing, hiking in the desert and doing all kinds of shit. So is it that the national park thing, is that because you have an interest in the actual position, or is it just because if you can't teach inside, you want to be outdoors all of your life?
Well, I've done a lot. I like being outdoors, no doubt about that. I've done a lot of traveling, and there's a lot of places in this world that I absolutely love, and nothing has surpassed Banff in the Rocky Mountains in Alberta.
For real?
Not even comparable.
And you've been like, Brazil, right? You've been to? Is that correct?
Brazil, Peru, all over Europe. I've been to Russia, all over the States. I've done quite a bit of traveling, and it's not necessarily the scenery. The Rockies are absolutely gorgeous. There's no doubt about that. But there's equally gorgeous mountains in different spots of the world. But when you go to the Rockies, you'll be driving down the major highway and you'll look right and you'll see a grizzly bear on the side of the road. You'll walk out of a bar downtown Banff and you'll see a moose walking down the middle of the street. It feels like it feels like one of the untouched places in this world that I've been, anyways, where humans have gone there, but animals have not ran away, and we still have some sort of mutual agreement not to mess with them, and they don't mess with us. Well, they will, I guess, if we get too close. But
Yeah.
it seems very wild.
A buddy of mine, he's in the military, he's in the Air Force, and he was in Cold Lake for about 5 years, northern Alberta, and
I wasn't
the
far
one
from
morning.
there. I lived out there for a bit.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. The one morning he sent me a video. There was a bear in his backyard, and I was like, "How do you live in a place like that?" And he was like, "What are you talking about? That's awesome. There's a bear in my backyard while I'm eating breakfast. It's so cool." Like, not
so
to me,
cool.
man. I am so cityfied. Like, my idea of camping is fucking Holiday Inn with Wi-Fi. And this guy's a good friend of mine, and like he's been bugging me for years. We should do Algonquin. I'm not the guy you want to take to Algonquin. We are not coming out alive if my dumbass goes in there.
Oh no, it's the best, man. When we went to Joshua Tree probably a month ago, maybe a month and a bit ago, it was probably 45 degrees during the day. There was no running water, the campgrounds, no nothing. It was roughing it. It's the best.
Oh man, that is not for me. Not for me at all. My dad's always so disappointed in me. My dad's always so disappointed in me because he's a Newfie, right? He's from Newfoundland, so he's always like, "When I grew up, we were fucking hunting and fishing and this and that," and I'm like, "Yeah, fuck that. Where's the Wi-Fi?"
Yeah, no kidding. That's funny.
Oh, shit.
That's
All right,
awesome.
my brother. I do appreciate the time. We're throughout this disaster. Definitely want to have you on again, and plug in some MMA stuff too as it goes on, because like I said, the show's going to be about. We're doing everything here. We're doing some hip hop. We're doing some combat sports. We're doing. Dr. Raymond is going to be on soon. Raymond Faisal.
Oh, cool.
I assume you know him.
He's the best.
So
He's the best.
yeah, he's great. So yeah, friggin'. We'll definitely be talking, especially as Josh has some fights coming up and stuff. And hopefully, spring next year, we're fucking on this show announcing the grand opening of whatever the gym is going to be titled. Do you have a name yet? You have a name for the gym?
We got a couple. We got to think about it. Okay. Everything's been so crazy. It just hasn't been the right time to think about a name, because that is important. It's something that it should bring some meaning and value to the business.
For sure. Okay, everyone, for Lyndon Whitlock, for Kirill Kasatskiy, I'm Jay Kelly. This is The Building Downtown. We out. Peace.
Building downtown.